Hello everyone on YouTube, TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. And today I'm doing a reaction to NIE's top 15 tier list. Well, it's not really a reaction because a couple of days ago, or like a week ago, I actually recorded a video on this. But as I was doing it, it felt bad, and afterwards, looking at the video, I was like, oh god, this needs another take. So we will try it again today. So this is not my first time seeing this list, but I want to do some commentary on it. And again, disclaimer, I'm just a big old scrap man. You know it. Big old scrap man. And he is arguably, you know, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. So yeah, this is just going to be my perspective and point of view. Hello, Chenzo, by the way. But one thing I find a bit annoying, and this is not only with NIE, it's most top players, they post a tier list and then they give you zero explanation as to why character A is S tier and character B is bottom tier. There's always not a single word explaining why the characters go where they go. And I believe there is someone here asking, because I was also kind of shocked seeing Lydia as #1. So that was immediately to me like, okay, wow, I'd love to hear about why Lydia is so strong. And he's not the only top player that says she's godlike, especially in tournaments. But I've yet to hear a really satisfactory explanation on what makes her so strong. She seems quite all-round. She has very strong mix-ups with her stances. The combo damage can be really high with the correct, with the right launcher that does a shit ton of damage, but still I feel like it's a little bit of a mystery. And I also want to talk a little bit about this mindset. Wherever the fuck that comment is. So here, someone actually asks NIE, why is Lydia top 5? And NIE responds with, you need to watch tournament and play her. But it would be so much easier, in my opinion, if NIE just explained it, because he's one of the greatest of all time. No one has NIE's mind when it comes to Tekken, right? I can't play her and watch tournaments with Lydia and draw the same conclusion as NIE, because NIE is the best in the world. He has a very specific mind for this game, right? And I feel like a lot of top players do this. It's not NIE alone. A lot of them do this. They just say, oh, you'll see why this character's godlike. All you need to do is play the character. And it's like, well, I'm not you, right? You're top 10 in the world. I'm not. I don't see this game the same way you do. But a lot of top players, they don't get that. They think that everyone can see what they see. But I'm just a bit frustrated with that. But so, okay, let's look at the placings. And immediately, the top 5 here is a bit interesting. These go without saying, I feel, in the top 5. Leroy, Geese, Akuma, Fakumram. And this is his point of view. Oh, and we gotta mention, to be 100% fair to NIE, but this is a tournament tier list. Best of 2 or best of 3. So this is not a rank match tier list. And when he says rank match, he means death matches. For example, on a rank match tier list, death match, you could place Kazuya pretty high. That character is super good once you start downloading your opponent and their timing and their patterns. He's honestly one of the best. But in a tournament, you wouldn't put him in top 15, in my opinion. It just doesn't work in that format. So we gotta be fair here. This is a tournament tier list. So, in my opinion, you know, as long as these characters are in top 10, I'm fine. Leroy is insanely good still, even with all of the nerfs. Geese, in my opinion, you could put him at top 1, and I wouldn't immediately argue against you. He could be the most powerful character in the game. Akuma is still a god, breaks every single rule in the game, pretty much. And Fakumram, again, even with all of the nerfs, so strong. But interestingly, I know Arslan Ash feels that Fakumram, I don't know if Arslan even puts him in top 10 anymore. I think specifically the fact that Fakumram's sidestep is so weak, I think it's like bottom 5. Arslan feels that that's too big of a weakness to be considered a very strong Tekken character. And there's a lot of merit to that argument. But Ni still holds him in very high regard, as you can see, and so do I. I don't know if I would put him in top 5, but he would definitely be in top 10. But Lydia is a character where I just go, I don't know. She seems to have pretty big weaknesses. I will be posting a video on this topic. I will be comparing her to Julia, a character I feel, if you have the execution, is just, you know, resembles Lydia a little bit, but in my opinion is just almost flawless and almost overpowered, Julia, if you have the execution. So many moves that are just... You wonder what the moves are even doing in the game, like her forward 1, for example. But so Lydia, oh, I would love it if a top player made a very detailed tweet longer, breaking down all of the aspects of a character that are so strong. But I'm guessing it's the powerful stance mix-ups, it's the damage, it's the reasonably good, well, pretty fucking good neutral with forward 2, where she can come in from a distance. She's weak to sidestep left, but she has tools like Political Storm. And Political Storm on its own is... I will be explaining that move in my video on the topic, but it's a pretty bullshit 14-frame punish that's also good in the neutral. And she closes the gap with an opponent immediately. She has forward 2, down forward 2, a very strong counter at mid. And her whiff punish is good. She is quite safe. Her stance mix-ups, if used well, are quite safe and damaging. But enough about that. I have a video on it. But I do want to say that she is pretty weak to sidestep left. Her stance mix-ups seem a bit gimmicky. She has no strong counter-it game compared to Jin, Feng Wei, Devil Jin, Marduk, Paul. I feel like a character to be here needs a very strong counter-it game. And it's like she doesn't even have a launching down for 2 or a magic 4. She has a magic 4, but it's pretty weak. 4-2. Yeah, I don't know. I just... it's just a character I would love to see explained by Ni. It would be awesome. But then in the top 10, like, you have Jin. And this is a character Ni has been discussing quite a bit lately due to him doing so well in multiple online events. I think he placed... Jin got 2nd place at 2 major online events. So Jin, again, even with all of the nerfs, still incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. Hello, BM. But still, seeing him in a top 10 is a bit shocking with all of the nerfs. Next to Julia, who's pretty much a flawless character. And then you have Master Raven, which is another character I also would love to see some explanation regarding. Went under the radar for a long time, and then suddenly, again, also a character people are suddenly talking a lot about. Tishumon, noteworthy player, and Go Attack, a noteworthy player. And Master Raven also feels quite risky. I feel like a lot of a character is 50-50 for enormous damage. She does have great keep out as well, reasonably good poking. No, the keep out is godlike, to be honest. But the damage is so high on Master Raven, and some of the highest wall damage in the game. Feng Wei, also a character that suddenly is mentioned everywhere. Much thanks to Kuiper, I think. The only player to beat Arslan Ash at the We Play event. And we've seen a lot of top players pick up Feng Wei now. No real enormous weaknesses. Quite steppable if you from a distance sidewalk him towards the left. They fixed his combo damage, used to be pretty weak. His 15-frame launcher, his hop kick has bad range. But other than that, I mean, everything is there. I mean, and my god, is Kempo. Devil Jin, I don't even have to explain. He should be in every top 10 and could be in a top 5. But if this, I'm thinking if this was Knee's rank match tier list, Devil Jin would probably be here. Would be my guess. And then we have top 15. Zafina, insanely strong. Marduk, insane. Bob, interesting pick to be here. Paul, really, really good. Could be higher. And then we have Kunimitsu, who is a mix-up goddess and has so many bullshit moves. So many bullshit properties. But what I find interesting here is that the character Knee usually plays in tournaments, which is Steve Fox, is completely absent from this top 15. And this is, at least in my opinion, absolutely ridiculous. I believe Steve to be an almost flawless tournament character. He pretty much defines the perfect tournament character. Low risk, high reward, extremely safe, thrives when the opponent is stressed. And stressed people press a lot of buttons. Plays very much in Steve's favor. And he has every single tool you need in the game to win. So like here you have Bob. Bob instead of Steve. It's like, or Master Raven instead of Steve. There's quite a few characters here I would just switch with Steve, to be honest. Steve should be in the top 15. To me, it's a no-brainer. I don't know if there's any other character I feel is absent here. Is Brian a top 15 tournament character? If a player is a god, is Brian a better tournament character than Kunimitsu and Bob? I would say so. He's so good, Brian. If a player is a god, the character is one of the absolute best. And Law should also be here. Incredible tournament character. Kazumi is also very strong. Very strong. Yeah, there's quite a few characters you'd like to see mentioned here. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Bob and Kunimitsu would be replaced with Steve and Brian. I feel those are... If the players are like the best of the best, I feel those two characters are more suited for tournaments. Where would you place King? I don't know if I would place King in a top 15 for tournaments. Top 20 would be more fitting, I feel. Lee and Negan. Isn't Lee a bit too high execution, Ducky? A bit too demanding? If you're slightly stressed, you know, in tournaments, it's such a struggle. Negan, though, is an amazing tournament character. I mean, if Akuma is there... Yeah, but Akuma is arguably some of the... Well, he could be the highest execution character in the game. But the thing is, once you reach that level of execution, you have a character that is 11 out of 10. That inverts the rule of the game pretty much, and... You know, his damage is... You know, the highest. So it's like, yeah, the execution demands are insanely high, but once you reach that level of execution, it's almost like you're cheating, right? But with Lee, when you reach his highest capacity after many years of practicing the execution, you have a character that doesn't live up to that execution, in my opinion. He's still very strong, don't get me wrong. But I feel the character is harder to use than his maximum efficiency output, right? He doesn't live up to the amount of work. If you want to put in that much work, I mean, you should play a character because you love a character. But let's say you just want to win. You just want to win. That's your goal. That's what you want to achieve. If you're going to put in that much work, why not go with Akuma? Or even Devil Jin? Those characters are more consistent, I would say, with God Execution. But don't get me wrong, Lee is incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. But it's a very interesting list, and for the most part, you know, you gotta feel like he, yeah, it makes sense. But oh man, again, Lydia would love an explanation. I would love to hear him talk about Master Raven, Feng Wei, Bob, Kunimitsu. But to be honest, I feel like he must be underplaying Steve. He's made a lot of statements when Steve gets nerfed, you know. Ni is the first person to say Steve is dead, right? And no matter how many times I see him, you know, exclaim or scream that Steve is dead, next tournament I see Ni and he's playing Steve. And I think he plays Steve in tournaments because Steve is ridiculously good. That's why I think he plays Steve. And Steve is a perfect tournament character. So Steve not being in the top 15 here to me is a bit of a joke. I mean, I can't stress that enough. And especially when you put in characters like Bob, Kunimitsu, Marduk. It feels like Steve is being underplayed here, or yeah, quite a bit. Low High as well, who is on par with Ni or second place. But the Low High is ridiculously strong, and he also has a killer Steve that he uses in tournaments. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty fair analysis of this list. And yeah, I just... Lydia has been with us now for almost a year, and I feel like no one has taken the time to just briefly explain what makes her so incredibly strong. My guess is that there's still quite a bit of novelty factor on her, and people still aren't used to the matchup. I think that still plays a significant role with the character. And to be honest, probably still plays a role with Leroy and Fakumram as well. People have so much muscle memory built in on Devil Jin and Jin that they don't think twice fighting those characters. But I still feel there's definitely, at least to Lydia, an aspect of freshness to her. So yeah, I hope that was interesting, this analysis. Thank you for listening to me, and I sure hope we get the biggest Tekken minds to talk more to us regarding these topics. JDTR usually does a good job, Arslan as well. Maybe they will make a video on the topic. Would be great.